Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, therefore I apologise in advance if I stumble over my words going forwards, and indeed if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2021 related video here on my channel. We are only a few weeks away from the upcoming contest, which is of course scheduled to take place at the Ahoy in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. It was confirmed earlier today, on the day of recording this video, that there will be an audience of about 3,500 individuals for the three shows next month, which is fabulous news, a step in the right direction in terms of there being crowds again for live events. And really, Eurovision is one of the first major European events to be staged after the pandemic began. So it's truly tremendous to hear something like that, and I'm sure a lot of people are very excited at the prospect of getting tickets for what will be a very unique and special Eurovision to attend. And I imagine they'll be very expensive too, but that's by the by. Anyway, in this video I'm going to be talking about the 7-nation army for this year. That is, the 7 nations that I believe stand a very good chance of winning this upcoming edition. Now, of course, feel free to agree or disagree with me in the comments down below, but of course please respect my opinions as I will with yours. There will also be links, as always, in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. Now, Eurovision here on YouTube made a video very similar to this a few days ago. Do check it out if you so wish. I thought it was quite interesting, and I agreed with a lot of what she said. And I'm sure plenty of other people will be uploading, if they haven't already uploaded, videos about this same topic. So I've got the betting odds in front of me. Now, of course, we shouldn't just look at what the bookmakers are saying. We should, have our own opinions as well and not just go off this. But more often than not, it has to be said, what the bookmakers say, what the betting odds are saying, end up being somewhat accurate. At least it seemed that way for a good few years to me anyway. So this is going to be in a random order. The 7-nation army for this year. I would be quite surprised if a nation I don't mention in this video ends up securing the win a few weeks from now. It's very possible we could have a 2011 scenario. That is a contest that is so open, nobody really knows who's going to win. And then we have a country that's about 8th or 9th in the odds on the day of the contest, winning in the end. And that was, of course, Azerbaijan. And I think it's fair to say that's not the most popular winner we've had over the past 10-15 years. So, it's also possible, I suppose, that we could have a runaway winner. I doubt it, but you just never know. I'm going to get into it now. The first country I'm going to talk about that I think stands a chance of winning is Switzerland. Now, when the Swiss song was revealed, it was an internal selection, of course, Tout l'univers, All the Universe by John's Tears. A lot of people started saying, this could be our winner. And it immediately, pretty much immediately, went straight to the top of the betting odds. However, it's now third. The momentum has faded for this song. I can sort of understand why. Not so long ago, he performed this song live on Spanish television. He was behind the piano. Now, his vocals, we all know, are absolutely sublime. He's going to be able to nail the vocals live next month. However, there was something about his performance on that Spanish TV show that I think a lot of people found to be very dull and ultimately disappointing. Maybe a bit flat, I don't know. I watched it a couple of days after he performed it, and it was sort of how I expected it would be. Obviously, on the Ahoy stage, which is looking absolutely fabulous, by the way, chances are he's going to have a much grander performance. He's going to make use of the extensive lighting system. He's probably not going to be sat behind a piano at all. Who knows? I don't know if there's been any announcements about his staging ideas as of yet. If he is behind the piano for the entire song, it's just absolutely inevitable that people will be saying that this is a straight-up copy of our most recent Eurovision winner, Arcade, by Duncan Lawrence. I don't want that. I want this to be its own different thing. I can actually imagine him lying down flat on the stage floor to begin with, and then sitting up as that first chorus kicks in, and then lots of flashing lights towards the end, sort of recreating the music video a little bit, where we have that sort of swirling motion through the mountains. Just put that on the LED screen. It could look absolutely fantastic. Staging a ballad is so hard. Staging any song is difficult, of course, but I think particularly with a ballad, because how do you keep people invested, especially if you intend on staying pretty much completely static for 3 minutes? It is a real challenge. I just hope that there's something about this performance that really grabs people's attention. Because his vocals, they'll blow people away. Even people who haven't listened to the song before, have no idea what to expect with this Swiss entry. They're going to say his vocals are absolutely brilliant. Even if they don't like the song, you've got to appreciate his voice. And that's the selling point for this song, truth be told. Now, obviously the juries are going to have their say. They should be dishing out an absolute ton of points for this particular song. If last year's contest had gone ahead, Switzerland would have pushed hard for the win. I actually made a video after the contest was cancelled saying why Switzerland should win Eurovision 2020, even though the contest had been cancelled. This year, surely a top 5 finish for the Swiss yet again. That would be 2 contests in a row and a real turnaround in fortune, because let's not forget that Switzerland, let's be honest, they were pretty rubbish at Eurovision for a long time. It seems now as though they're hitting a bit of form. Last time out we had a really good up-tempo number, She Got Me, finished 4th. This time we've got a ballad, Switzerland showing they can do both. It's been a long time since the last Swiss win, by Celine Dion of course. Is it time for this particular Central European nation to triumph again? We wait and see. If Switzerland win, chances are it will be Bern 2022. 3rd in the odds. Like I said, I feel as though just the momentum with this particular entry, it's just starting to fade. But once the actual rehearsals begin very soon, who knows, he might just rocket back up to first place again. It says on this particular website that Switzerland have a 12% chance of victory. I'm sure it's roughly the same on other websites. Now let's think about this just before I move on. In the jury half of the results, you've got to be looking at a minimum, I would say, of 220 to 230 points, which would maybe, if it's a very close affair, make John the winner of the jury vote. More likely it would be about 3rd or 4th, maybe. And then in the public half of the results, I think a minimum of 200. Now, wasn't it 200 and something that Duncan Lawrence achieved? 250 something, I want to say. I could be well off with that, I can't quite remember. So anyway, add those together. That's 330. That's 430 points minimum, in my opinion, at this moment in time, for the Swiss entry. 430, which I think would be enough to finish at least in the top 3. Could be our winner, though. We wait and see. His voice is the greatest thing about this song. The music video is good, but you're not voting on that. I think they really need to hammer home that euphoric last chorus. And he's got to nail that high note, which I believe he absolutely will. Moving on, because I'm starting to ramble, the next country out of this year's 7-nation army that I think is in with a decent chance of winning is Bulgaria. Now, Bulgaria, again, like Switzerland, for many years, weren't that amazing when it came to Eurovision, but then they turned a corner. Pretty much in 2016 with Polygenova, If Love Was a Crime. That finished 4th, and they haven't really looked back. Now, Equinox in 2018, that one just springs to mind. They were expected to push for the win, never really came close. Then in 2019, Bulgaria weren't there, were they? And then had last year's contest gone ahead, it would have been Tears Getting Sober, which was the favourite to win at the time of the 2020 contest's cancellation. This time around, Victoria is back. She said that she was going to release a new EP. All of the songs on that EP were contenders to be at Eurovision, and the one that was chosen in the end Growing up is getting old. Now, I'll get it out of the way now. Even I've done this and compared Victoria's look and sound to that of Billie Eilish. This song isn't really like that. Tears Getting Sober, I can understand it. This song, not quite as much. But anyway, enough with the comparisons. This song, I think, is really lovely. I think it's sweet, nostalgic, gentle, stripped back, relaxing, atmospheric. And that's what they really, really need to do on stage next month. Really make this a totally intimate, atmospheric experience. The fact that we're only going to have about 3,500 people present in the arena, I think is actually going to work wonders for this type of song. There doesn't need to be anything remotely flashy about this. There doesn't really need to be a whole lot happening on stage whatsoever. I've said before that I can imagine photographs of a young Victoria dangling down from some sort of contraption, a little bit similar to the music video. Just try and recreate that, because I thought the music video was really touching. Victoria's got a lovely voice, quite fragile but so pretty, I suppose, to listen to. And this is the 5th favourite to win at this moment in time. If the bigger hitters this year, you'll know who I'm on about, if they for some reason slip up, Bulgaria's waiting in the wings. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Ideally, you really have to finish in the top 3 of both the public vote and the jury vote to stand any chance of success. It's why Italy didn't win in 2015 with Grande Amore, because the jury screwed Il Volo over. But let's take a look at this then. I think the juries will appreciate this a great deal, but I think it's also inevitable that some jury members, and indeed some nations in the public half of the results, will dismiss this because, yeah, I can understand why you might think it's boring. It builds up quite nicely, but it is quite slow all the way through. Anyway, in the jury half of the results, you've got to be looking at a minimum of, I would say, 170 to 180. In the public half of the results, and I do think Victoria will do better with the public, maybe not by a huge margin though. I'm thinking maybe approximately 210. So that would be 310. That would be, I am rubbish at maths, let's say approximately 400 points. Yeah, 400 points for Victoria at this year's contest. Absolutely. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, 390, 400. Somewhere in that region, which would be enough to finish maybe about 4th, which is 1 place higher than Bulgaria currently are, in the betting odds that I'm looking at right now. I think that's a very reasonable mark. Bulgaria are gearing up for that maiden victory in the contest, let's be honest. And I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Victoria's a very promising young female musician. We've had young female musicians do well at the contest within the past decade or so. Emily de Forest springs to mind immediately. Victoria could be next in line. Moving on, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Bulgaria stands a better chance of winning than Switzerland? Let me know. The next country in the 7-nation army is Sweden. Every year, Sweden's a contender to win. Some people, some fans, think that Tusse, with Voices, won't even qualify from that admittedly very tough first semi-final. All I can say is, are you having an absolute laugh? I'm sorry. There's no way, as far as I'm personally concerned, that Sweden don't qualify this year. It would be an enormous upset if Sweden didn't qualify. This song, I mean, yeah, we've sort of heard this thing before. It's very powerful. Tusse is a young male musician with a smashing voice. He seems very enthusiastic about the whole experience. And you just know that this is going to get the jury love. Without a shadow of a doubt. It's going to be a copy and paste scenario once again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So exactly how this was performed at Melfest is exactly how it's going to come across pretty much at Eurovision, just on a much bigger stage with a bigger LED screen and everything. So we're going to have those faces pop up on the LED screen. He's going to have those 4 dancers, perhaps the very same 4 dancers. He's probably going to wear the same red velvety suit. Like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, is this going to be an interesting performance. It's like with Switzerland, it's like with Bulgaria. This is another sort of low-key track. I mean, are people really going to gravitate towards this? What we've seen in the past couple of years, with regards to the contest, of course, is that in the jury half of the results, points galore. When it comes to the public, not much love. In 2018, it was shocking that Dance You Off fared so badly with the public, with the voting fans. And then in 2019, it came down to the Netherlands and Sweden, and I think all of us sort of knew Duncan had one hand on the trophy at that moment in time. John sat there in the green room, and then when he found out that he had lost, he looked absolutely aghast. And, I mean, it might happen again this year. It might happen again this year. I'm not saying humiliation. I'm saying that Sweden might not get 100 points in the public half of the result, but 300 in the jury half. That's a very realistic possibility. You can't tell me that this is not a song that the juries are going to go nuts for. There's going to be plenty of points for this. It is a qualifier, surely. Surely. I mean, it's a huge talking point if not. So let's work this out. In the jury half of the results, I'm thinking 210 minimum for Tussa. And then in the public half of the results, let's say 100, that's 310 overall. So that's quite a way off Bulgaria and Switzerland. But the reason I've put Sweden in this seven-nation army is because, really, more often than not, you can't rule them out. It might be a Swedish victory. You never know. So I'm going to put 310. That would be enough to finish in the top 10 yet again. Let's not forget, Sweden hasn't missed the top 10 since 2013 and hasn't missed the top 3 of a semi-final since 2010, which is an absolutely exceptional record. So they're in the final, let's be quite honest, and no doubt a cushy slot in the running order in the grand final too. But that doesn't matter right now. The next nation. There's 3 more. There's 4 more. Good heavens above, I'm rambling. Let's get the big one out the way. Malta. This is Destiny with Jumakas. She's 18. She sings that well, and she's got unbelievable confidence coming into this contest. I mean, it's ticking a lot of the right boxes. This is up-tempo. It's sassy. It's a little bit like Toy, the Israeli winner a few years ago. Obviously, sonically quite different, but in the same sort of mould, lyrically perhaps. This is sassy. It's catchy, it's fun, it's a little bit jazzy, it's got this sort of new swing feel to it. Fantastic. And we know Destiny is going to sing it so very well indeed. I think, part of me feels as though Destiny thinks that she really, really could win this, and win it not easily, but somewhat comfortably. And that must be a great feeling for her, to be so young, and knowing that she has a great chance of getting her country's very first win in the contest. It would be a huge deal for Malta. I'd love to see them win. Valletta 2022 is a very real possibility. However, what makes me a bit apprehensive is that, and you know what's coming, it's that public support. So many times over the past few years we've seen Malta struggle in the public half of the results. Why, I don't know. Criminally underrated at times. It might happen again. Now, this is a different song. This is arguably a much better song than what we've had over the past few years from Malta, who have turned a corner, like the Swiss. Yeah? Chameleon, that was a huge step in the right direction as far as I was concerned. And then last year, All of My Love, that would have done very well, surely a top 10 finish. And then this year, a top 5 finish, if not a top 3 finish, is absolutely guaranteed as far as I'm concerned at this moment in time. Still, will there be enough public love? We know the juries like Malta pretty much every year, so let's work this out. In terms, I mean, this could be our jury winner. Maybe. There is a country here that I'll mention in a minute that I think could run away with the jury points. But Destiny, Jumakas. That bit's been stuck in my head for days. I'm thinking minimum 250, maybe 250. I mean, the juries liked Chameleon, but they didn't go mad for it. And then in the public half of the results, I mean, I'm trying to be as realistic as possible here. The points will come, but will it be 12 points? 12 points? Or will it be 2s and 3s, you know, a couple of 8s maybe, not a whole lot of 12s? That's a very real possibility. I'm thinking minimum of 150, which is 400, isn't it, overall? So, same as Bulgaria. So at the moment, Switzerland has the lead with 430 minimum. I mean, this is just a prediction. I wouldn't take it too seriously, but of course, let me know what you think. The Maltese song. I mean, the more I hear it, the more I think, yeah. I mean, this is going to blow everything else away. It's going to be a great stage performance. We don't need to worry about the vocals because they're going to be great. We don't need to worry about the confidence. Destiny is going to work those cameras so well. It's ready-made for the contest. Could be Malta's first win, like I said, and that would be an amazing, amazing moment. 3 countries left. Next up, oh, this one's a bit of a rogue entry into our 7-nation army. It's Lithuania, currently the 8th favourites to win. Now, last year, had the contest gone ahead, on fire, that was receiving a lot of love from Eurovision fans. Neutrals listening to the song for the first time on the night, had the contest happened. Watching the performance for the first time on the night, had the contest happened. They would have been impressed by this. They would have found it quirky, intriguing, and maybe they'd want to vote for it. Could well have been Lithuania's best ever result in the contest. This time around, now whether it's because the national final was so long ago, pretty much at the start of the year, I don't really know, but not a whole lot of people really seem to be talking about this Lithuanian entry this time around, despite the fact it's the same band, despite the fact that Discotheque won the national final over there by an absolutely crushing margin. I mean, it was almost embarrassing for everybody else, perhaps, because this was such a margin of victory we're talking about. Discotheque is great. It's cool, it's sophisticated. I don't think it's forced. It's just a really great song and a really great performance. The choreography, which is a little bit awkward, it works. Very charismatic lead singer, and it's going to be a great opener to the first semi-final. What a great song to kick Eurovision back off again after not taking place last year. Could Lithuania win? Well, we know that Lithuania has a bit of a diaspora. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's the reason why I've put Lithuania in this list. I think this is a song that's going to have broad appeal. I can see points from all corners of the continent, and perhaps Australia too, for this band, for this song. It's going to be a great performance, probably very similar to what we had at the national final with the yellow outfits and the sort of chessboard swaying pattern on the LED screen. I really look forward to it. And the vocals are good too, with the dancing. It's great. The 8th favourite to win, I can understand that absolutely. In the jury half of the results, they've got to dish out plenty of points for originality. I mean, this stands out so much from everything else around it. So I'm thinking minimum of 150. And then from the public, I think the public score could be very high for this. Very high. I'm thinking at least maybe 200, 210. That's 350-ish overall. That would be enough to finish in the top 6, I think. Could be Lithuania's best result to date. I mean, we can't have "We Are the Winners" staying as Lithuania's best result in the contest for much longer, can we? I don't know. Anyway, 2 countries left. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. Let's get France out of the way. I mean, come on now. Come on now. We all saw, I'm sure we all saw, that national final performance. It looked cinematic. It looked absolutely ready to go. Nothing needs to change next month, I'm telling you. I mean, we're not going to get exactly the same performance, but my word, nothing really needs to change. The lighting, the theatrical element to the performance, it's dramatic, it's engaging, the vocals are just beautiful and crisp, and it's passionately performed. Everything about this is working. Now, I know that some people might find it boring, neutrals as well. Next month they'll listen to this and think, well, it sounds very French, but it's so very dull. If this is on in the first half of the final, that's a damaging blow. If it's sandwiched between 2 far more up-tempo tracks, which I think is inevitable, but if we're talking about, like, I don't know, Cyprus before the French entry, and then maybe something like San Marino or, I don't know, Greece afterwards. That's damaging too, because France will just be brushed aside a little bit, perhaps. However, the juries, I mean, this is pure jury bait, surely. They're going to vote for this in huge numbers. That's what I'm thinking. In the past, we've seen, and I say the past few years, we've seen France not do as well as we've predicted. Amir, in 2016, did better with the juries. The public put him in the top 10, didn't they? But not with as many points as I think we were all expecting. Then, in 2017, Alma, well, the juries let her down. In 2018, Madame Monsieur, I thought we're going to finish in the top 3, if not win, and then finish nowhere. A very disappointing public mark indeed. And then in 2019, Bilal, on the day of the final, was also expected to push for a top 5, top 3 finish, and was absolutely nowhere. Now, that gets me thinking that Barbara could well end up flopping, for want of a better word, next month. She might end up finishing absolutely nowhere. There's also a very real possibility that she could win. If she wins, she'll have written the reigning the reigning Eurovision winning entry, and co-written the current reigning junior Eurovision entry, which would be a lovely record to have. I really like the French entry, I really do. It's grown on me so much ever since I first heard it. The national final performance really elevated things as well. It's my 3rd favourite of the year. It's the 2nd favourite to win at the moment. I think once those rehearsals come around and we start seeing clips of those rehearsals, this is going to narrow in the odds. Really could be France's first win since the late 70s. I think if France do win, I think it's deserved. I wouldn't be disappointed about it. In the jury half of the results, I'm thinking 230 minimum. Public, it's going to be less. I'm thinking maybe 160. So that is 390-ish. Somewhere in that region, I think, for France, which would be enough, I think, for a top 6 finish. At the moment, though, Switzerland out in front. I mean, I can see France finishing top 3 with the juries, not with the public. Malta, I can see top 3 of both. Switzerland, I can see top 3 of both. Bulgaria, maybe just outside the top 3 with the juries. Sweden and Lithuania, I don't think are going to win. But they are in this 7-nation army because you just don't know. They're up there, and, you know, they're going to get plenty of points. Maybe enough to win. Who knows? The other nation, you know what's coming because I've spoken about this particular song so many times. It's the Italian song. It's the 4th favourite to win. Zitti e Buoni, Maneskin. The performance is going to be exceptional. It's going to stand out an absolute mile. If this is in the second half of the final, happy days. I mean, this is a young band. They've written it themselves. Let's talk about that as well. That's impressive. How many acts this year have written their own songs? It's not that many, I don't think. So that's fantastic. Performance at Sanremo was excellent. We haven't got an orchestra for Eurovision. That's a shame. That might dilute the performance somewhat, if you see what I mean. But I'm hoping that energy is still there. I'm hoping that rawness is still there. Nothing much needs to change. I'm hoping they're wearing the suits. They performed this as part of a pre-party the other day. I thought that was pretty good as well. I like the energy, the vibrancy, the fact it's a rock song. Maybe Europe is in the mood for rock. It's been a long time since we had a rock song be a contender. Pretty much the only one was 2006 by Finland, and that won very convincingly. Italy are really pushing hard for that 3rd win. 3rd win. They've only won twice before. That's outrageous. So let's think about this. There's no point really talking too much else about it because I've spoken about the song so many times. I love it. It's my personal winner. And again, it could flop. It could win. It could win. Who knows? I'm thinking minimum 160, maybe. 150, 160 from the juries. I think a much healthier mark, a much better mark from the public. I'm thinking maybe 210. That's 370. So there we go. That's it. I'm going to hold this up, even though you're not really going to be able to see a thing. There it is. Just there. So, looking at that, Switzerland to win. Switzerland to win. Malta second, Bulgaria third, France fourth, Italy fifth, Lithuania sixth, Sweden seventh. What do you think about that? Am I well off, or am I bang on, perhaps? Let me know what you think. That's the seven-nation army. Will it be Valletta 2022, Paris 2022, Bern 2022, Milan, Turin, maybe 2022, Sofia 2022, maybe Gothenburg 2022, or Kaunas, because I think it would be that one, 2022. Let me know what you think. I'm very interested to know. I've also got 3 wildcards, and I've put these here because if we have a 2011 scenario all over again, it might be one of these 3 nations that comes out on top instead. I won't really talk about them in any great depth. Cyprus. Could El Diablo be the winner? If Fuego didn't win, if Replay didn't do that amazingly, El Diablo isn't going to either. Top 10, yes. Winner, I'm not too sure about that. Norway. Some people love this, some people really don't. It's 10th in the odds. Cyprus has overtaken it within the past day or so. He's so popular in Norway. They can't vote for him. I don't know about Norway. Is it even a qualifier? I think so, because of the staging that we're going to get. And then Romania. Is that even a qualifier? I don't know. But I've seen what the staging could be like. Augmented reality playing a big part, perhaps. We'll wait and see. But I'm really looking forward to the Romanian performance. I think Roxanne's great. And the song's really nice. Could it be Bucharest 2022? Oh! Who knows? Let's not speculate anymore. Let's just wait for the contest. There's going to be another video from me, maybe tomorrow, certainly at some point over the next few days, telling you my updated predictions for the semi-finals. And then, really, it's just playing the waiting game until the week of Eurovision is here. It's edging ever closer. I can't wait. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. A really long video, this. If you've stayed with me for the whole 32.5 minutes, I really appreciate it. Apologies if the quality wasn't that great. So I'll just mention it again. Malta, France, Switzerland, Italy, Bulgaria, Sweden, Lithuania. I think it will be one of those countries that wins this year's contest. Which one? Time will tell. Until next time, I really appreciate you checking out this video. And check out my other social media pages in the description if you so wish. Much appreciated. Until next time, roll on this year's contest. Can't wait. Pictures of the stage looking sensational. Bye for now.